I want to go to Bob Vander Plaats. You know him, the family leader, president, and CEO. He is supporting Ron DeSantis for the presidential nomination for the Republican Party. He's kind enough to join us right now. Bob, good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Neil.
How is this whole Israeli back and forth and pauses and hostage releases and all? How is that being received in Iowa? How closely are they watching it? How is it affecting the candidates and their strategies? What can you tell us?
Well, they're watching it very closely. And right now, I'd say just praise God for the release of the hostages. But I think they also want to see Hamas completely defeated and uprooted out of Gaza, because they're just a terrorist group wanting to wreak havoc and death on Israelis. Iowans, like Americans, we stand with the nation of Israel for a lot of reasons, biblical and strategically, for those of us who are of the Christian faith.
You know, Donald Trump wasn't very happy when he heard that you were backing Ron DeSantis. I'm sure he wasn't too pleased when he heard that the Koch group is going behind Nikki Haley right now. But how does that stuff sort out in Iowa? And obviously your support means a great deal. We've gotten reports that Ron DeSantis really needs to just outright win Iowa to carry on. Do you agree with that?
Well, I do agree with that. I think he knows how important Iowa is. He's known it for a long time, that Iowa is ground zero. But I think what you're seeing with Ron DeSantis, he has a great organizational structure right now for an Iowa caucus. He has the historical endorsement of the Iowa governor, a very popular governor, and Kim Reynolds, who's putting her thumb on the scale for a governor of Florida to be the next president. I would not have endorsed, and I don't think Kim Reynolds would have endorsed, if we didn't see an avenue for Ron DeSantis to win in the state of Iowa.
So as you see things now, we're always told, you know, the religious vote and religion, period, is a big issue in Iowa. And that would seem, you know, at first blush to make this a tight race in Iowa. But right now, Donald Trump is winning in a walk in the polls. As you've reminded me, that can change and it historically has changed. But what do you make of those polls? You just mentioned that, you know, Ron DeSantis has to win. He's down by a lot.
Yeah, he is down by a lot, and those polls are just polls right now. What I'd say is, with the former president being under 50% and well under 50%, the last poll I saw was like 42%. Now, that's not a great day for him, but I think there's a lot of blue sky for a guy like Ron DeSantis, where he can actually gain momentum here. And as we look at Labor Day for a general election, people really look at Thanksgiving Day when it comes to an Iowa caucus. And again, I think he has the fundamentals to win an Iowa caucus. And I think the more this takes place now, the more people galvanize and come on his side and on his behalf. I think he has a great opportunity to upend the former president in the Hawkeye State.
You know, Bob, we were talking at the outset about the Israeli situation, these pro-Palestinian protests, one that could happen right where I am, just a block or two away from where I sit for this Christmas tree lighting in New York. But that has actually, in an unusual way, helped Nikki Haley. It was a very tough foreign policy view, strong support for Ukraine, strong support for Israel, unabashed, you know, backer, being with our friends and staying loyal to our friends. So it seems to have helped her in polls nationally. She's had a big uptick in Iowa, and not so much Ron DeSantis. Do you think he misplayed the global threat issue?
No, I really don't think he has. As a matter of fact, he's the only candidate who has served in the military, and he is somebody who's very clear where he stands with the nation of Israel. Matter of fact, I thought what he did at our Thanksgiving Family Forum, he has a very balanced approach. Yes, we want to stand with our ally Israel. We also want to secure our southern border, but we want to have a balanced approach here. But I thought he came across very direct, very steely-eyed focus of what a commander-in-chief needs to be. And I think he'd be well respected on the world stage. And that's what we need, again, is we need a leader that's well respected on the world stage.
Bob, a quick question for you. When you announced your decision to support Ron DeSantis, did you tell Donald Trump that it wouldn't be him?
No, I didn't tell him. And matter of fact, he didn't call. I'm sure he assumed it wouldn't be him, since he didn't attend our leadership summit or the Thanksgiving Family Forum. Yeah. But listen, I think him even attacking me or going after me, it just shows, I think, the strength of our organization, the strength of the endorsement. And I think he understands that he could get upended here, and that's why he has chosen to go after me and a very popular governor in Kim Reynolds.
All right, we'll see what happens. Bob Vander Plaats, thank you for joining us. Good seeing you again.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.